I will be talking first and introducing these great guests. I will start with Raymond Yan. He's the head of studio. Raymond Yan is the senior executive VP of DigiPen Institute of Technology. He has worked in interactive technology development since the first became involved with DigiPen in 1990. As an extension of his role in DigiPen collaborating effort with Nintendo to establish game development school, Raymond would also become the VP of Art and Design at Nintendo Software Technology, where he was responsible for the development of many successful game titles. After spending over a decade of managing his two roles, he left Nintendo to focus all of his attention on educating the next generation of game developers, leaning on his extensive background in designing interactive experiences. He is excited and honored to be leading the team that is establishing the unique game development apprenticeship-based program in the kingdom. Hi, Reynold.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for coming. It's a real pleasure to be here tonight.
It's good to have you. Next, we have Renee Abbas, Studio Game Design Director. With more than 18 years in the game industry and 16 years in higher education, Renee Abbas is one of the first female game designers in the Middle East and the first to be a founder of a video game company. She is the CEO and co-founder of Wixel Studios, the first independent gaming company in Lebanon and one of the first in the MENA region. While actively involved as an entrepreneur and business owner, Renee Abbas has been an educator since 2003 at notable Boss secondary institutions, including University St. Esprit Catholic, Academic Lebanese Box Arts, the Lebanese American University, and the Lebanese University. Abbas' work has been recognized around the world, and she has won many awards, including recognition by GameIndustry.biz magazine as one of the world's 100 game changers. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hi. Okay, next is Michael Harrington, Studio Art Director. Michael has been making games since the early 1900s. A veteran of the game industry in roles like game designer, art director, and project manager, he possesses extensive game production experience and has worked on many AAA franchises: Nintendo Wave Race, 1080 Snowboarding, Mario, Metroid, Zelda, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Pokemon, and Kirby, as well as LucasArts Star Wars, Jim Henson's The Muppets, BBC iPlayer, and Tetris. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Next is Ryan Davison, Studio Technical Director. Ryan Davison was most recently a senior engineer at Redlands Games, working on the Minecraft title. He also instructs courses in computer science at DigiPen Institute of Technology as an adjunct lecturer. Prior to Redlands Games, Ryan worked with DigiPen Research and Development as a senior lead software engineer and led projects partnered with the Boeing Company, the Renault Formula One team, and Andretti Autosport IndyCar. His dedication to team and personal development has proven to be critical in the success of many projects. It's good to have you, Ryan.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And next is Joseph Saidi, studio producer. Most recently, Joseph worked as the head of engineer at Proximi, where he managed a team of software engineers scattered across the globe. In 2016, Joseph co-founded and was the CTO of Mary Berries, Inc., which published several hyper-casual mobile games and managed the advertising, mediation, and monetization of NBC's Wizzo platform. Joseph was previously the lead engineer in quantum communication and created the software engineering department of MNC. Saatchi Mina, previously Saatchi and Saatchi. In addition to the above, Joseph has written and lectured multiple courses in game development in the Master of Game Development degree offered by the Lebanese University. As a DigiPen RTIS graduate and previous DigiPen software engineer, Joseph is excited for this new unique program that is critical for the industry in the kingdom and the Arab world. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And of course, we have Abdullah Saneh, who is the co-founder of Advanced Initiative. Abdullah, I will let you talk more about yourself and maybe answer the first question that we will have today, which is, what is exactly the Game Changer program and its goals?
أول شيء شكرا أخي محمد على إقامة اللقاء, and thank you everyone for being here. I'm Abdullah Saneh. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Advanced Initiative, and please excuse me for speaking in English, just so that my colleagues here can chime in and join. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. The Game Changers program is something that we are very proud of. It's been something in the works for 2 years now. It's a unique hybrid of classical educational program and vocational entrepreneurial program. We take the apprentice or the participant into a journey of skill set development up until the time where they are capable of leading their own studios. Our intention is that throughout this rigorous 13 months program is that we have 10 capable studios with their own MVPs that they can launch on a global scale. Obviously, this program is the largest of its scale and as well in terms of size and content. Such a program befits the massive and unique transformation that the kingdom is going, and as well the potential that the industry has here in the kingdom. We chose to partner with DigiPen on this project because we believe that they are the not only the pioneer because they've launched the first video game degree in the world, but they are amongst the best in building skill sets around the world from Singapore to Bilbao, and their long history can attest to this. Advanced Initiative is a company that is participating in this endeavor, helping in making this something that is, let's say, a potential reality. All of this, and I must give credit where credit is due actually, is because of the massive and ambitious vision set forth by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, who really allowed the sky to be the limit for our ambitions and dreams in such projects and many other. Saudi Arabia has 4.6 million active video game players. It is an industry that generates around 2.8 billion riyal on a year-to-year base, and it is the 19th biggest market in the world. On average, the Saudi individual and a Saudi video gamer actually has more purchasing power, 3 times actually, more purchasing power than the average American or European video gamer. All of these variables allow for such an industry to thrive in the kingdom and will potentially make the kingdom an economic force to be reckoned with when it comes to video game development. Also, I must give credit for the amazing team at MCIT for making this happen, led forth by His Excellency the Minister, who took on this project on very, let's say, ambitious goals that we've had in the beginning, and also the Quality of Life program for making this happen, and as well providing enough support for all of the requests that we've had in logistics and having the DigiPen staff here in the kingdom. This program is not benchmarked on another program. It is the first of its kind, and it's something that is tailored to the kingdom. After multiple visits and discussions here and there between DigiPen and Saudi Arabia, we have identified the program tailored to the unique and capable Saudi skill set, and we're hopeful that this 13-month program can attest to the amazing work led forth by MCIT in the Quality of Life, and in collaboration with us, who just added a small part to the massive ambition that those government entities have. So I will allow the team to speak more about the technical details of this program, and thank you again, Mohammed and MCIT, for allowing us to pursue this initiative, and as well maybe do something in the video game development sector, which we've always dreamt about doing.
I think Mohammed's microphone is muted.
Yeah.
Well, I know that. Yeah, I know. Certainly, from DigiPen's perspective, we are extremely pleased. Oh, there you are.
I'm back again. Okay. Okay. So, Reynald, you've been doing this for so long, I'm sure, and you've been doing this in many locations. But as Abdullah said, Saudi Arabia is very unique when it comes to the gaming market or the game industry. It's very fresh. I know that you guys know how to handle this, so we want to know what's the approach you will be taking in this program.
Thank you, Mohammed. So again, thank you everyone for coming. I'm very excited about this. I've been with DigiPen for over 30 years. I've been making games and animation productions for that whole period. And this is something that's very new for DigiPen in a way. Even though we have been doing this for a long time, We've always taken more of a classical educational approach, including establishing a degree program that Dr. Abdullah mentioned. For me, this industry, especially when we're talking about the kingdom, you have to have two things, right? You have to have qualified manpower and you have to have the companies. And here in the kingdom right now, we don't really have either. So to get things going, we wanted to take advantage of not a classical education model, but more of an apprenticeship model. We want to bring in people. We want to effectively have these apprentices join an active game studio. And with the mentors who've introduced themselves here, that we are going to create an environment where the apprentices will come in and we will help them develop the skills from wherever they are. So it's a very differentiated type of experience. The apprentices do not sit in class. We'll get to know what they can do. And then as we understand that, the artists will work with Michael, the game designers will work with Ren, and the programmers will work with Ryan to develop the skills that they individually need to develop the competencies that they're going to have as developers. The added piece of what our program is delivering, though, goes beyond that, because again, we need the qualified personnel, but then where are they going to go? Well, in our case, the companies that they would go to are going to be formed by themselves. So as we bring in our first cohort of 50 people, 50 apprentices, the goal is that we will ultimately not only provide the training so that we have the programmers and the designers and the artists, but that these individuals will start to form companies as they progress on their journey through this program. And eventually we'll have to produce an MVP that they will present to a panel. That panel will then determine if they are prepared to advance to what we call the incubation phase. So in the incubation phase, we're now going to take this new team, this excited group of individuals, and we're going to have them launch their company. And hopefully these companies will become a foundation from which the industry in Saudi Arabia will actually spring from. I'm sorry again, Mohammed, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so it's a promising program, and the thing that we will end up with the independent game developers here in Saudi coming up with great games that can have a big success. It's very promising. But I'm sure that many people are watching right now, and a lot of them are thinking about the selection process. How can I apply? Who are the people that you are looking for to get into this program? We know that you will just, in the end, you will have a specific selection of people. You will have a specific number that will go into the program. So who are you looking for? Is there a specific qualification in these people that you want?
Thank you. So, any game studio, of course, ideally want to have experienced game programmers, experienced artists, experienced game designers. And as I mentioned, we don't really have that here in the kingdom, which is the reason for this program. So what we're looking to do is really to find the best and the brightest in the country. And that starts with individuals who have an undergraduate degree. So they have a bachelor's degree as a minimum that could be computer science, or that would be computer science or computer engineering for the programming track, be a Bachelor of Fine Arts for the artists. And for the game design, it's a little bit more unique because game designers come from all kinds of backgrounds. So we would be looking for people who have a bachelor's degree, perhaps in a creative field or in a technical field. We've got some great game designers that have computer science background. So that the academic side is that's the sort of the minimum requirement. And then we'll be, of course, looking at existing skills. So we are not making the assumption here that people are coming in from with no knowledge. We're going to open the door. We're going to try and find the best and the brightest. So there's no ceiling. And as we start to evaluate their portfolios, for the programmers, we'll be administering a competency test to measure, the base knowledge for those candidates. For the artists, for the designers, we'll be looking at their portfolios of drawings and animations, understanding their experience that they have in terms of working with digital tools. So we fully understand that there are many people who are interested and who may not have some of these skills. And again, we will just simply take a look to see who has the right kind of background for us to build on. The other piece that's really important, I think, for everybody to understand is that while this is all very exciting, and I'm sure that the people that are listening, probably a lot of video game players, you need to understand that while you may be very good at playing video games, it's a very different thing when it comes to making video games. And I know for myself, having worked in the industry for such a long time, I have a lot of battle scars, just as all the mentors do here. Lots of projects that were very difficult to produce, many projects that failed. Again, this industry is a challenge, if for no other reason, because of you, right? Your expectations as a player is really high. Today, it's very difficult even for me to get a player to spend $5 to pay for an app. I have to eat, I have a house to pay for. So I hope that, the player will actually contribute some money for that. But it is very difficult, what the players want. So imagine now, not only do you have to develop the skills to be able to make this kind of product, I'm sure all of you have played some games that look amazing and yet they're not fun, right? We have to also find people that help or that have the qualities for the other big part of our program, which is the entrepreneurial side. We already have to have kind of fearless attitude when it comes to making games. You have to go all in. You have to really commit. There's this idea of always striving for excellence. Certainly that is something that, all the years I was at Nintendo, that was something that was not special, that was expected. So people that understand what it means to never say die, people that are really committed, they're prepared to fail, get up and try again and again and again and again and again. And my hope actually is that I'm particularly excited of the changes that are going on in the kingdom, that there's this real energy, people that are stepping up not only because they want a job in the field, but that they want to contribute to the growth of the country. So I want to see that energy. I want to see that excitement. I want to see that determination, that fearlessness, never say die attitude. And as we progress through the filtration process, we'll look at the basics, the academics, then we'll look at the portfolio, and eventually we'll get to the interview. And I actually believe the interview is probably going to be the toughest component of the filtration process, because it's going to be looking at all of the things that I just touched on. So, it's not going to be an easy journey by far, and it's not for the faint of heart. But if you have that passion and you can show us that you really are determined to be part of this, then we welcome you. I think this is what's going to make this entire program especially amazing and unique, because with this type of person, I think that we can produce people that have that innovator's mindset. And innovation, of course, is very difficult, but we want companies that are not going to produce derivative work. We want original ideas. We want original, and again, very difficult to do, but you have to aim high if you're going to build an industry. So.
Thank you very much, Reynolds. It's very exciting. I'm excited. I want to join the program myself, actually. I want, I just introduced some great people today, but I'm eager to hear from them. So can you please let us know? I'm sure that even the people that are going to apply, they want to know who will be overseeing this program, who will be mentoring them during this program. That the idea that we will be very close to some great people and learn from them, learn from their experiences, it's such an exciting thing. So can you introduce us to the team and let us hear from them?
Yes, it would be my pleasure. So no particular order. I would like to start maybe with Ryan Davison, who's going to be the technical director for the studio. And Ryan, are you ready? Maybe you can say a few words.
Yeah. Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you today. So I want to talk a little bit about feeding off of what Ray was talking about before, about kind of what we're looking for and what I'm looking for in a developer. And since we don't necessarily have all of the experienced game programmers in the, like the well-established within major companies shipping multiple titles, game programmers, we want to take a look at what makes a good or rather a successful game developer. And so we want to take a look at things that are, you know, this person must be creative, must enjoy solving problems and sorting out different types of puzzles. You have to be very persistent, very dedicated and disciplined and have a strong work ethic. As Raymond said before, making games is much different than playing games. You will have to enjoy playing games, but you really have to enjoy that process of making the video game. Your person's going to have to be very organized, dependable, and accountable. And so that kind of brings me to a little bit what I'm specifically looking for in people. I want to know what you've already done to make games up until now. So most of us, if you want to make games, you can make games. Now, it might not be a part of this program yet, or you might be able to join this program now, but we want to take a look at what you've already done to achieve some of those goals. We want to take a look at some of your previous programming and development experience, all of your technical skills, your problem solving abilities, what types of leadership or supportive team member experience that you have. As Raymond said before, there's an academic aspect of this too. So we want to take a look at your math and physics backgrounds, with math specifically the linear algebra or 3D math, focusing on vector and matrix operations. In physics, just a basic kinematics understanding, and then any experience that you might have with game engines, especially the major Unreal, Unity, and these. From there, again, making games is very different than playing games, and not everyone gets to achieve this goal on the first try, so persistence can pay off. There is always opportunities to make your own games and to gain more experience, you know, on your own. So we really want to look at what you have maybe done to start that process before this program has been in development. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ryan. And of course, to balance against the technical side, we have the art side. So I'd like to introduce Mike Harrington, who is the studio's art director. Michael?
Thanks, Ray. Hello, everyone. For art, well, actually, before I go on, I want to clear up something that's a very common point of confusion about video games if you're not familiar with all the roles in video games. One, like Ryan, head of programming, is saying developer. We're all developers, really. The artists, the designers, and the programmers are all game developers. So, but programmers are called developers. And for art, which often in the real world is called designers, they're artists, or we just go by artists. And then for game design, which is the people who make up the rules for the game, they go by game designer. So I'm looking for the artists, the guys who do all the visuals, the women that make animations. You know, like I want people who have strong fundamental skills that you know, the BFA, that they've got everything covered. They've got the composition, color theory, they can draw anatomy fairly well, just a strong basis to build on. If anybody is already a game developer or has you know, experience making game assets, that's fantastic. If not, we're going to start with those fundamentals and we're going to teach the rest. And you'll have the opportunity to learn 3D if you don't know 3D, but the fundamental skills are key. That's it. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Michael. So, you know, just so everyone knows, I'm originally from Canada, and Michael is and Ryan are from the US. And I felt that as we assembled this team, given that, you know, our goal was to take individuals from the kingdom and help them to create companies that can create content for the MENA region, it was very important to me that we also identify people who are in that area. And so I'm very, very pleased that for the game design side, I have managed to convince an old friend of mine, Ren, to join the team. And I know that Ren will be instrumental in helping to make sure that these teams really understand the process. Ren, do you want to say a few words?
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited and happy to be a part of this program, especially that I come from the region. I shipped games from the region. I worked with a lot of game designers and developers and artists from the region through game jams, competitions, as a judge or mentor. And I know what we need in our regions to be better, to compete worldwide, to ship really original titles from the region. And this program, the Game Changers, is the solution, is the savior, if you want, for our region. I'm really excited to be part of it, and also to teach and to. I want the developers or the artists or the creative people that will work with us in the game design department to learn not only to understand the basic of design theory and principles, the rules of the game, the game mechanics, the gameplay. Not only that, we will share, and especially me, I will share my experience as an entrepreneur, also as a game designer, as an artist. I want them to understand that we need really strong game designers in the teams, because the game designer will transform, a concept to a playable product, a fun playable product. So this is important to have this game designer in any team.
Great, thanks, Ren. And finally, of course, trying to address how we're going to, help the apprentices form companies that can produce products. Yes, we have to have the technical and the creative side, but we also need the production management side. We have to have it scheduled and organized, and also understanding, again, as what Ren was just saying, that entrepreneurial piece. So I'd like to introduce Joseph, who is going to be who is the studio producer and will be handling a lot of this. But Joseph?
Yes, hi. So also, like, based on my background, launching a mobile game studio in the region and setting up everything related to that. I'll be using this in addition, like, to putting the workflow and process between the different departments, and mainly organizing the work into deliverables. And this work will be hand in hand going with all the different departments: art, game design, and programming. This is mainly the role of a producer. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Joseph. So I hope everyone can see it's an amazing group of people. I'm really honored to be able to work with these individuals to help these apprentices that we bring in to be very successful. It is going to be, again, a very difficult journey, not only for the apprentices, but for us as well. But I think that the team that we've assembled is very excited to be working and on this project. And I think together we will be very, very successful.
Thank you, guys. I'm really excited to continue the discussion with you. So let's talk about, I noticed that one of the things that are part of this program is the business side of things, because if you can't run this game development as a business, then you're going to fail. So what does it mean to be an independent game developer? Is this something, because some people will think that, okay, game development, I can do it part-time. Is this a full-time thing? How will we come with 10 independent game developers at the end of the program? And can you talk to us about the importance of the business side of managing things?
Dr. Abdullah, maybe you should answer this question, and perhaps Ren as well can chime in.
Absolutely. It certainly is very challenging anywhere in the world to start up a video game development studio. And as an independent studio, the challenge is even bigger with not enough resources at hand. Obviously, I must admit, as AIC, being a company here in the kingdom that started by 3 people that had nothing to do with video game development, we just wanted to develop video games and dreamt about it from being young. I'm here just representing 2 of my colleagues. both of which are named Salman. One is the biggest Nintendo fan, arguably the biggest Nintendo fan here in the MENA region, and the other is the most, let's say, involved player when it comes to Skyrim. We come with different backgrounds. We put in different experiences, and whatever we lack in technical maybe capacities, we try to look on for in the region. There are niche requests for indie studios that they need, and there are general requests which have led us to actually developing this program, which brings forth a unique skill set that we can attribute to. But what it means to an indie studio, let's say, a company or a venture, is that they work endlessly, tirelessly, and seek as much opportunities as possible to involve more experienced people and have more individuals play the game and test the quality across so many different, let's say, platforms. One of which is the business side of it and the vertical approach of how to tackle a business within the indie studio. The program actually tackles this by having a unique and special business development program attached at the end of the apprentice journey, which is led forth by a business incubator that will provide the necessary business acumen skills to the studios to survive as an indie development studio. It will learn a lot from the mistakes that we did as a small company, and we've learned a lot during these 2 years of our establishment. I think the thing that got us working most of the time is that when we look at the massive and accelerating speed of reform here in the kingdom, there's one thing that echoes within us, is that there are no more excuses. We need to do something. We cannot come up with an excuse. We need to try and do something. With whatever resources we have, with whatever capacity we can do, we need to establish a product. And we're happy to say that there is a product that we've been working on for almost now 18 months, and it's very close to being published. It's something that we had to outsource for the technical details and technical difficulties and complexities in it. But we are proud to say that this is our first project, and it's something that we were really involved in from the beginning and taught us a lot of lessons in the many other projects. But do not be fooled. It's a very difficult industry, and it needs perseverance and grit and discipline, which is something that we learned a lot during the past 2 years. And the thing that led us to learning from DigiPen and having DigiPen here in the region to maybe instill that within us as a company and many other emerging studios, hopefully that we all together can collaborate and run an ecosystem that's capable of maintaining this really great venture.
Ren, maybe you can just add. I know you've got a lot of experience establishing your own company in the region. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Yes, I know. I know that one thing that we started as a really small team. We were three founders. The skills we got was actually from the DigiPen, aka between Lebanon and US. And because we had really strong skills and experience, from DigiPen, we had, we had what takes to found a gaming company and to start to produce games from day one as a small team. And because we had many skills, as game designers, developers, and artists, so we had a chance to develop many games from the first year, and also to start, do services as gamification and advert games in the region. So it's really important to have the entrepreneurship spirit and to know the risks they are taking and the dedication that they need as a small team to start, a startup in gaming, especially in a region where, there's not a lot of competition and not a lot of skills, because not to have a competition is not good, because you will not have many studios, so many skills, and we don't have education in gaming in our region. So that's why this program will give these teams skills they need to produce really well-shaped games to compete, and also to create, games that can also create jobs in our region and to compete in this huge industry. So they need both. They need the skills, and also they need what it takes to be an entrepreneur, especially in the gaming industry, and the risk and dedication and the time they need to give, and also the passion. They need this passion so they can survive it.
Thank you very much. That was very insightful. Maybe I will ask a question that maybe is applicable to game development in general, globally. We have this two sides of things when it comes to game development. We have the developers that wants to make a game that they would like, and then we have the head of the studio, or the corporate side, where they want to make a game that would appeal to the customer. So when you go into this program, will you be giving people the freedom to come up when you divide them into teams and they start to come up with their ideas? Will you let them have their own ideas, the things that they would like to do, or would you direct them toward doing a game that would appeal to the customers or to the market itself, whether it's locally or globally?
That's a great question. Our role is to help support the apprentices and to support as their companies stand up. So it's not about us, it's about the apprentices and these companies. So yes, absolutely. We want the teams, in fact, to come up with their ideas. And so as we are standing up the teams, they are going to already be receiving sort of that business training as well. So they can do the market analysis. They can kind of start thinking about what types of products are there a demand for in the region. And then they can start to align what they might like to pursue as a project. So perhaps they want to do a game for entertainment purposes, but also perhaps they would be interested in making something more in the edutainment field. So we're not really dictating per se what the companies will make, because it's not our company, right? At the end of the day, the goal is for these companies to stand up, but that these companies are also very smart about understanding what the region needs so that their products are in line. And then we know that there's many possibilities. And so that team can then have sort of that personal decision about which type of product that they want to make. So I know at the beginning, even now, people ask me, oh, what kind of platform, what kind of games are we going to be making? And my answer is, I don't know yet. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really about what these companies want to do. And then our job as the mentors, certainly it's not that we have a lot of experience, we have a lot of knowledge, but we don't know everything. It's going to be a journey for us as much as it is for the apprentices. But as we get to know the apprentices and what they can do and what they want to do, I think that this team is going to be able to pivot and adjust so that we can help them with the right resources achieve their goals.
Thank you very much. Of course, I'm talking about game development and your experience working at Nintendo. I know many of you worked at Nintendo. So Japanese game developers have their own culture when it's come to game development. And then we have the Western culture. Do you think that Saudi can have its own culture when it comes to game development?
I certainly hope so. I think we want to see that. I think this is why it was important for us to, or certainly important for me, to have some of our mentors from the region. It was my primary motivation to go to the kingdom to visit the AIC team and to understand really what's there. We're not trying to impose our culture. I think working with these Saudi teams, that we can help provide a process that we can help them, so that they can understand really what's important. But I think a large part of the excitement for me is to see how these individuals, again, there's so much excitement, there's so much energy in the kingdom. And I love that. I love the fact that to be able to work with a group like the three people at AIC, that already is so exciting to me, because their energy, their excitement is what I feed off of. So now I imagine myself going into work every single day, and I see 7, 8, 9, 10 teams like that, focused on what they want to do. I don't want to tell them, you know, you must do it, you know, all the way we do it in the US or in Japan. We have to find and explore the way that, you know, fits, you know, that they can still get the job done. They still have the right skills. They have a good process to manage, but also something that embraces the culture and the people and the excitement that exists uniquely in the kingdom. So yeah, I'm super excited for that.
That's very nice. I want to just take this chance to remind the attendees, people who are watching us, you can ask your own questions. Please ask your questions, add them to the chat section of on YouTube, and we will pick several questions. We have a 20-minute session to answer the question. These great guests will be hearing your best questions. So do your best to ask good questions and add them to the chat box so we can pick from there. Okay, so maybe we can talk more about the phases of the program. In phase 2, we will have specialized training. Okay, here we will see the different type of people involved in game development. As we said in the beginning, there is the game designers, there is the artist, there is the programmers. So maybe can you guys give us some advice to people how to make the best of this 4-month period? It's a 4-month period, so it's a long period, and I'm sure that they can make a lot out of it. So what's your advice for them?
Well, I know there's several people here that probably can answer that, but I just briefly, 4 months is actually not a long time. It's going to go by. It's going to go by very fast. In fact, this entire program is going to be going by very fast. So again, because it's not a traditional academic program, there's not a course that you'll finish. You are going to try and learn and apply yourself as much as you can. So as this, you know, apprentices start, we'll do an introduction phase, which will allow us to do a further assessment of what everyone knows. And then they'll enter a business sort of boot camp, I guess, for a couple of weeks to sort of start getting them thinking about what a business side looks like. Then the phase that you talk about, the skills development, is really where that differentiated training comes into play. So, you know, all of the mentors here will be working with the apprentices on an individual basis to understand what they can do. And then what the apprentices have to be prepared for is to be challenged. I mean, you know, put the smile aside for a moment. This is very serious work. And that, you know, if, you know, you come in, if you ever feel that this is easy for you, then you're not doing your part, because nothing of your experience with us should ever be easy. It should always be challenging. If it's easy for you, that means you're not learning. And these mentors will be pushing. That's probably what you need to expect more than anything else. I don't care if you're a better artist than the person next to you. We have to push you to be better, right? I don't care what your prior programming experience is. Everyone is being measured from where they are, and we're going to grow them from where they are. So the expectation of what I have for the apprentices in terms of their mindset is that I'm coming here, I'm going to suck the knowledge, every bit of moisture out of every rock, of every mentor that's here, so that because the day is going to come very quickly that we won't be around, that you are going to be standing on your own, staring at your coworkers, and you've got to figure out what to do. So as you advance and the companies start to form, then they'll enter a phase where they have to form their company. And we're not defining who's in that company. We're going to make recommendations. This is what you should expect to have in your company. But at the end of the day, you're going to self-select, right? And that means you have to get to know each other really well. If you're a shy person, you're going to be in trouble. You have to be fearless again. You're looking at, and you know, to form these teams and eventually coming to an agreement to push towards that MVP. I mean, there is a structure to the program, yes, but you know, I always tell people, don't think of this like a school, think of it like a real company, and that you're coming to work and you're going to learn as much as you can so that you're as prepared for the difficult part. The program that we're doing is going to be difficult, but it's not going to be as difficult as what you'll face when you get out into the industry. Dr. Abdullah, maybe you can also, your own personal experience from making your company and also your involvement with how we've structured the program. Maybe you can say a few words.
Certainly. Obviously, as a company, we've identified maybe three main reasons why, what are the main challenges for any starting up video game studio here in the Kingdom. The first of most is the lack of maybe capable skill set or talents that are maybe to the sense of providing software in a sense that we can publish. We have a lot of self-taught capable individuals, but not to the degree that we would want games in Saudi Arabia to be produced. And many of them are now have a huge appetite for programs similar to, as this, that can accelerate their backgrounds from computer science, arts, or animation to being a capable video game developer. And this is the reason why we had to outsource our first project, because of the lack of those niche, and as well on the opposite side of the spectrum, which was the generalists. And we had to outsource for people who had that balance and equilibrium inside the studio. I think that is attributed to the third reason, which we've identified as a potential challenge for finding local talents and starting up studios here in the Kingdom, which is the perception about video game development. Video game is still looked at as a recreational activity. It's not something that brings out a business side. It's not something that you can live out of, even though all evidence shows that it is, in fact, one of the most let's say, rewarding industries. Throughout the COVID pandemic, which we've all endured, almost one of the very few industries that really boomed was the video game industry. And if you look at it in terms of size, the video game industry is bigger than the Hollywood and the music industry combined. US alone spends on a video game more than Bahrain's entire GDP. We're talking about an economic sector and a business opportunity that to be reckoned with. And the Kingdom already has a foot in with the amount of revenue it has and the capacity of purchasing power, and as well investment opportunities that are rising up in the region. So still the perception of video games being something that's only recreational is a challenge. I believe the second most important thing, which was the ambiguity about the regulations that pertain to video games. Or is it something that we can publish? How can we work on it? Maybe because it's an emerging sector and the government is mobilizing all of the efforts towards e-commerce and digital economy and digital sectors. This is something that is still a learning experience, and the learning curve of it is still growing significantly. But the ambiguity when it comes to platforms, localization, how to produce your own game is the third challenge that we see to any starting studio. And we took that in consideration when designing the program. Again, I said in the beginning, this is not a program that's benchmark. There's no evidence for us to work on a similar program in any other country. So we had to tailor a program for Saudi individuals that live within a Saudi system and have the great Saudi capabilities that they possess within universities, whether they are taught here or abroad. And the business incubator is something that's not going to only be attached towards the end, but it's going to be something that's continuous. From the first day that they're in the program up until the very end, they will learn about IP laws, about team selection, about how to manage a software, about publishers, about publishing contracts, contract financing, things that are not necessarily innate in computer scientists or designers or artists, as our colleagues have mentioned. So this is something that we have taken in consideration. Obviously, there is so much to learn within the program. Hopefully, the team at DigiPen and AIC have reached, let's say, a program that is flexible and dynamic to take on these new learnings from the apprentices, which we will learn a lot from, and as well feed into the hopefully next cohorts of participants and in perfecting and refining this process.
Anyone else will be commenting on this?
Hey, Joseph, I know maybe Joseph, for you, the business side, from your perspective, having been in industry in the region for so long, what are your thoughts?
Yes, concerning the business side, as you know, like as a game studio, it's all business is risky, but opening a game studio is like one of the riskiest business. This is why like having this kind of training is very important. It will allow studios and apprentices to experience this kind of program without the challenge of first going and finding the investor and then opening that, because they will be helped and coached throughout the program into how to approach investors and publishing houses. In addition to that, while working on their own product. So usually this kind of let's say coaching doesn't exist when a indie game studio starts. They'll have to rely on themselves to learn the technical skills and the business skills. This is one of the big, I think, advantages that we will have, speaking from a personal experience.
Thank you, Joseph. Maybe one of the most talked about challenges in the game development world is that even if you successfully made a good game, it can still fail, because marketing is very crucial when it comes to game. And maybe, globally, they have more access to ways to market their games, or communities to talk about their games. But here it's always been a challenge. And in some industry, like mobile games, we have it's like the marketplace is overcrowded with games. We see different games and new games every hour, maybe. So will this program go into the marketing aspects of game development?
Perhaps Dr. Abdullah, do you want to talk about the business incubation side and the contribution that they will be making on the marketing?
Absolutely. The marketing, let's say, approach that the business incubator will work with the studios on is and that's why when we selected the incubator, God knows we've had so many meetings and looked into so many potential incubators that are capable of pushing studios into a global scale. The marketing aspect and the global outreach is something that is very important for us. And just to mention, I always put this example forward with many of my colleagues. There's a very famous game called Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Now it has a sequel. It's by Moon Studios, and those team members actually never met each other. They were working completely virtually. But the amount of artistry and the great development that they have made through in a project like this was something that needed no marketing in the sense of having to be pushed very strongly. The product sold itself, and the quality of it actually put it forward. And we've seen so many breakout products and breakout software that only recently became famous, since even though they were launched many years ago. Among Us was something that everyone is playing now. Muhammad, I've seen you commenting on it a couple of times on Twitter, and many of people that follow you actually play it. It's something that was launched a year ago, but it takes on the traction if you have good and very decent software and a product. And this is well taken care of within the business incubator in terms of instilling these marketing approaches and choosing your beachhead market, selecting your audience, choosing which platform you want to publish on, and signing platform deals. And how will you market for yourself once you have a product ready to launch? Hopefully this will all be tackled within the business acumen that the marketing, that the incubator will help infuse within those studios. And our hopes are high that the students and the apprentices will have, as Mr. Raymond said, a go-to attitude, and as well push forward their products in the region and globally.
Thank you, Abdullah. Okay, guys, we can now go to the audience questions. Actually, they've been sending some questions, and actually I will start with a question that I've been seeing popping up in social media since the announcement of this program. So it's good to tackle this one. Um, People are asking, why is it necessary for applicant to have a bachelor degree? So can we answer these questions?
Sure. It's a new project, and with only a 1-year period for us to stand up, we can't possibly teach everything. At DigiPen, we have 4 or 5 years to take somebody from zero and move up. So initially, as a pilot, not a pilot, but as the initial cohort, we felt that we had to start at least with a certain baseline. We absolutely understand that there are many out there that maybe have some prior experience. Maybe they learn to be an artist on their own. Perhaps they learn programming on their own. Those opportunities are definitely there. But for this first cohort, we at least wanted to have an established baseline. I've been training people for many, many years. Again, I've been involved with DigiPen for over 30 years, and it is extremely difficult to do. I mean, I'm talking about the training to make sure that people, no matter where they're starting, that they are able to actually ultimately meet the competencies. I mean, if you start at zero and this is the target that you have to get to, and you grow and you grow and you grow and you are almost there, the fact that you're almost there doesn't matter. You have to cross the finish line. It is very much an industry that demands that. So we felt that for this initial group that we wanted to at least have a certain base level of knowledge in the foundation so that we could base our layer of production skills and technical skills as it relates to video games specifically, that we could layer that on top. I think as we go, we'll be able to better understand how we can open it up for more opportunities, because this first cohort, from my perspective, is not the only one. And I think AIC, I don't want to speak for Dr. Abdullah, but I know we've spoken many times that this is just the beginning, and we hope to open this opportunity to other groups very shortly.
Thank you very much. Another question is, do you think that this program will be able to build a game development industry in Saudi? Do you think that it's only an experiment, or do you think that it's something that can be a foundation for something bigger to come?
Well, I absolutely believe it. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't. Now, of course, there's no certainty in the future. We don't know. I mean, you just look at the last year that we've had. What certainty can we have, right? But I can tell you that with the experience, this project is not just the people that you see here right now. You're talking about DigiPen as an entire organization, something that is internationally recognized in Singapore, in Spain, South Korea, Thailand, I mean, in Canada. So when we need help, if we have an apprentice who needs assistance with a specific topic, it is not just us that can answer the question, but we can call on faculty, industry contacts, all those people that we know internationally to come to the table and support. AIC, of course, is a tremendous partner, support of MCIT, the support of, I mean, if this group cannot do it, then I absolutely do not believe anybody can. We have, and the biggest ingredient to all of this, again, will be the apprentices. I think the Saudis that I have met, I had a pleasure to meet a lot of them when I was over there, and there's just this fire that is in their eyes to want to do something great, not only for themselves, but for their country. So I think, as I've learned the word, inshallah, I believe that we absolutely will be successful. And as we get the first group out there, we will refine our process. We will refine how we, identify suitable apprentices. This is a growing process. With all the years of experience I have, I can't guarantee anything, but I also know that nobody can. So I will trust very much on the good faith that I see that is involved from all parties that are involved, from the Saudi government to our Saudi partners and to the mentors that I'm providing. All of us, I hope you understand, we are making a personal commitment. We're moving. We are coming to the kingdom. And for myself, I have a big family. I have, as Dr. Abdullah knows, I have 7 children. I have an amazing wife that I've been married to for almost 30 years. And I'm preparing to leave them to come to the kingdom. Why would I do that if I didn't believe that we were going to be successful? So I believe, I think all of the people that are going also believe, and we're going to do it together. So I hope that answers the question. Dr. Abdullah, maybe you have a better answer for the assurance that everything will be fantastic.
Well, I certainly cannot add to that, Mr. Raymond. You said it, and you've really eloquently just described what our intentions are. I always say that if the only people that could is DigiPen. If they couldn't do it, no one can. And if they're the only one that could, then they should. So I truly believe that the kingdom has so much that it can offer in the video game industry. And we are a rich culture that is just now breaking out of a shell, that's telling the world that what we are, what we have, and we have capable individuals. You have no idea the amount of talent that we've seen individually or within the program. I think those people, we owe it to them as anyone who works in the video game industry and thinks that he's passionate about the video game industry, to work together and provide as much opportunities. Again, this is all set forth by the person that leads these transformational efforts in the kingdom. So as the conference never puts a limit on what the kingdom is capable of doing, then who are we to judge what can we achieve? And I believe that within the next 10 years, the kingdom can be amongst the top 5 active regions in the world when it comes to video games. And with the promise and the ambition of His Royal Highness for this region to become the new Europe, I believe video games will launch the Renaissance period as much as art did in Europe back then.
Perhaps Ryan, I know you've, I've worked with Ryan for many years. We've been teaching. Ryan, I mean, maybe you can talk to the idea of, sort of the egalitarian sort of aspect of our approach to education and the success that you've seen with, students that we've worked with in the past.
Yeah, so the big thing, this is always a lot of work. So the amount of passion that one has to have to be able to complete this kind of and achieve this kind of a goal is extensive. This requires not just passion, but also dedication and discipline. So in the students that we've taught within DigiPen, and Joseph and myself are both graduates of the DigiPen program between different years at different levels. And we both have a knowledge of what it took to get through those programs, or this program, from the programming side of DigiPen's software engineering or computer programming, computer science degree. What it took to get through. That has also helped both of us, because he has taught courses as well, come back as an instructor and try to help and change classes and take stuff to try to push students through. So I know that, the amount of hard work that is there is, I don't know how to express enough how much hard work goes into making a game. It takes, extra hours. It takes wanting to be involved, wanting to interact with your users. It's not a direct interaction because we'll ship the game and then your players will come back and play that, but they're still interacting with a lot from your personality, from your character, everything that goes into making that game. That's just from the programming side, let alone the contributions of the art and design and the character traits from those developers that are added into the mix as well. I don't know if there's.
And we've definitely had so many, over the years, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of graduates that have not only found jobs but have become leaders in those companies. They've grown. Even where Ryan was, if you look at the Minecraft group, I can't even count how many graduates we have working there. So, from a skills development piece, we're absolutely confident about that. Then we have the strong business piece that's going to help those companies stand up. And I think we have an excellent incubator that we will be working with. Plus, again, all the support that is coming from within the kingdom. It is something that I think should be very, very achievable. Not easy at all, but should be very achievable, in my opinion.
Yeah, fun and challenging and achievable.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. We've been getting more questions, so we will go into some technical questions. One of the guys is asking, he is currently working on a game. Will that increase his chances of getting into the program?
Who wants to answer that question?
Maybe I will.
Ryan. Yeah. How about you, Ryan?
I mean, it can. It depends. It depends on what what else you've done and what the game is, what your contributions are with this game. Is the game entirely from scratch? Is this using a 3D engine? And I mean, all of us know games have to be fun. So, we want to take a look at all of these kinds of things when we review applicants and stuff. The best thing to do is to just apply and see. It's so easy to sit back and to think, oh, I wish I could do this. Just take that step, and you might as well look and see if this goal, take your first steps to achieving this goal, and don't sit back and just wonder what could have been. So it could it help you. It really could.
Absolutely apply, right? I talked about that fearlessness that you have to have, and it starts now, right? You can't hesitate. No matter what, you got to go for it, and give us a chance to evaluate what you can bring to the table.
Thank you, guys. One of the guys is asking a question also. It's about he said that he's passionate about games and he is developing games, but he doesn't have a degree, or some of them have a degree but cannot come to Riyadh. As I know, you have to physically attend the program to enroll. So do you think that you will have a chance for these people? Maybe not now,
Perhaps
maybe
Dr.
also
Abdullah,
in the future.
do you want to answer that question?
Well, I cannot speak of the future, but certainly the program in its next rounds will be very much comprehensive in its selection criteria, and taking on newer and newer ventures, and taking risks on more capable individuals. And I think Mr. Raymond explained very clearly at the beginning, the program has its own risks in the beginning of starting as a new project and having it as the first time. We want to be as, let's say, contingent on capable individuals as much as possible. And the college degree is something that is as much of an assurance as we can get. However, in the next rounds, inshallah, as we work with our partners, more and more capable individuals will work themselves into such programs and be helped. And hopefully, inshallah, in the future, we can go up to the level of undergraduates and K-12 programs where we tackle high school projects and help those individuals become video game developers.
Thank you, Abdullah.
About the,
another question? Yeah, please.
Sorry, Dr. Abdullah. So for the candidates, this is a nationwide search that we're doing for those people who are potentially coming from outside of central part of the kingdom. I'm not sure what we can share at this point.
Well, obviously, I know I'm also, one of my eyes is focused on the questions that are on the YouTube link. And I know a lot have been asking and sending emails about having a stipend or a salary, and what can they do if they come from outside Riyadh. I'm glad to announce that MCIT, through its efforts with its partner, has provided a monthly salary for individuals who are enrolled in this program. And that salary is not the only thing. They will also provide housing for individuals that come from outside Riyadh and are accepted within the program. So you'll be taken care of from the minute you enter the program until I'm not going to say the last minute we see the apprentice as an apprentice, but until we bid our dues as a studio and see you graduating and becoming a capable studio. So housing will be provided, and as well a monthly salary for all the individuals in the program, and housing will be provided for those that happen to be from outside Riyadh and accepted into the program.
See,
That's
so
great
you
to
have
hear.
no reason not to apply.
Absolutely,
That's great to hear.
absolutely.
I think some of them are actually maybe already have a job or something. That's the problem with not able to leave their cities or something. If it's the housing, you heard it. It's solved. So, and you will also have a salary. So there's no reason not to attend and apply and come to Riyadh. It's a unique opportunity. It's a rare opportunity. So I urge everyone to apply. So our next question is actually about the degrees. One of the questions asked is what kind of design degree do I have to have in order to apply?
Oh, and Ren just disappeared. Okay, I was going to get Ren to answer that question. I think she's having some internet connection. So we're looking for people who have, I'm personally interested in people who are involved with degrees that are in the creative sort of aspects of it. So design, it can be people from the technical background, who maybe you have a computer science degree, maybe you have a degree in architecture, perhaps you have a degree in film or video production, and of course, you know anything that is involving interactive technology of any type, that would be of interest too. So it's not quite as it's a much broader spectrum that we are open to for the game design. Oh, there she is. Hello, Ren. So we were just talking about the types of degrees that we might want to see from the applicants to the game design apprenticeship. Do you want to talk about that for a moment?
Yes, of course. We can have in our department from many majors. Usually we can have. Sometimes we have artists, developers. Any creative field can join this department. Of course, we need previous experience. They need to have previously worked on some games. But usually, yes, in this department, any creative, a person can join this department. But I really like the question. Many of them ask the question, the difference between the game design and the art.
I think that must, poor Rand is still having issues. Michael, maybe you can answer. I know you brought that up in your introduction. Do you want to talk a little bit between that whole game design art piece?
Sure. Yeah, that's one of the things that's kind of frustrating being an artist in the game industry, is that designers get all the credit for the art because game designers are the ones who are basically, there's a lot of different jobs in all different departments, but designers are responsible to define the game. And that includes things like rules, backstory, all kinds of stuff. But they don't have to draw the game. They don't have to animate the game. They don't have to lay out the game. That's what artists do. Special effects, all of that, that's art. So is she back? But anyway, so that's a pretty important thing to understand when you're talking about roles within the game industry. And I said already too, but game developer is a general word that's used to describe all of us. But it also is used to specifically describe programmers. So,
thank you, man. Thank you very much for clarifying that question. That was a great answer. Maybe this is our last question from the chat section, from the audience. So it's a good question because it's a question about the biggest goal that we can have. As you know, few countries only can claim that they came up with a AAA title. And it's the dream of any country. I'm sure when it comes to game development, we wish that we can come up with a AAA title that that gets developed in Saudi and have a successful launch everywhere around the world. So, what does it take to make one? What do you think that we need to do in order to reach that bigger goal?
Well, it's a very big question. The way I look at it is you have to start with people that, and companies that are not thinking about just survival. In other words, you have to have people that are not going to be just, let's produce derivative work to pay the bills. I'm going to make our version of such and such a game. You want to build an industry that is capable of, creating its own AAA game studio. That means you need an environment, you need an ecosystem, you need companies that believe that aiming for excellence, aiming for innovative product, that has to be the number one priority. And it is very difficult to do. And that's why I think why so many countries fail to break through, because a lot of those companies, they're not sort of working with that kind of mindset. And that's what we're bringing to the table here, that everybody that is, from the design to the programming to the art, the support, if we want to build a true industry here that can lead to a triple game studio, it has to start with these small companies that can start learning what does it take to make that kind of product. We're going to take those baby steps at the beginning. And I think depending on how things go, what's beautiful about this industry is that it's not dependent on, like, the natural resource that we depend on is not about the trees or the fish in the water or oil or any of that nature. It's just the people. And that a small company of 4, 5, 6 developers can actually make a product that is highly, highly successful, right? But those people have to have that dream. Those people have got to have that vision that I'm going to go for the throat. I'm not going to be afraid. I know it's risky. I know it's challenging. I know all the difficulties, but I'm still going to go for it. And as I tell the students that I teach, this industry, it's like we have to cross a canyon. It's got this rickety old suspension bridge. You look at it, the rope looks frayed. The wood looks like it's about to break apart. And I can find 100 people, those brave souls that are willing to cross that bridge. And the first one steps out on the bridge and he falls to his death. And the next one crosses the bridge. And the third one, are you that 100th person who you've seen the other 99 fall to their death, but you believe that you can do it, right? That's what we're talking about. And I think if we're going to build an industry in Saudi Arabia that actually has the right people and the right mindset to create that AAA, this is what it's going to take. So there are lots of AAA studios that end up with a product that maybe are not that successful, right? I'm sure your audience has seen it. And there are lots of small companies, there's small indies. There's guys that, they just did it on their own time while carrying another job to pay the bills. And they have seen that success. So, as I said at the beginning, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't think if there was a 10-step recipe on how to create an industry that spawns AAA studios, I think I'd be a very rich person, first of all. But I think we would see that replicated in countries around the world. There's many countries that this is their dream. We want to build an industry with people from our country that can tap into this global market. And how many of them? You said 3, 4 maybe are successful, right? That's how difficult it is. But I do believe it starts with the mindset. And that's exactly the attitude that we're walking into this project with right now. We don't want companies that, are built, I'm only a mobile company. I'm only a company that does puzzles. Why would you limit yourself that way? You're a game developer, right? So go for it. Be open to it, be receptive, understand what's going on in the industry, look at what the customer wants, try and find things that the customer will want when the customer doesn't even know, right? And if I think really that is the only path for us to follow. And so as long as people understand that, then again, come and join us and we'll figure it out together, how we can actually work this out. And I would say, in a way, what we're doing in the kingdom as DigiPen is maybe trying to find, is this the path that we can truly help a country establish an industry properly, right? That's what's so unique about this. We've tried to, we've trained people for many, many years, very, very successful, but it was always with the mindset that they were going to spawn or they were going to go into an existing company. We're not doing that here. We're taking it to the next level, and we're really thrilled to be able to do that.
Thank you very much. Everyone watching, you've heard Reynolds and his great team. These are the people that you want mentoring you, believe me. You need to have this ambition. You need to have this, energy when you go to game development. From the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure I'm speaking for many gamers in Saudi and people who love games and been playing games for many years now, that I wish you all the success in this program. For the people watching, if you are interested in joining this program, it is now available for people and open for your applications. Go to gamechangers.sa. You can see the URL in front of you. It will be displayed here on YouTube on the bottom of the page of the screen. Go to the website, apply now, gamechangers.sa. You can apply, you can get into this program. The lucky ones, if you make it to the program, you will come up with great things. I'm very optimistic about this. I'm really thankful for everyone in this session. Thank you, guys. Thank you for talking to us today. Thank you for talking to the audience, for explaining everything. I'm really glad that you will be coming to Saudi, that you're doing this in person, that you will be meeting all these potential game developers. I hope that you will successfully launch the game development industry in Saudi, that we will see many independent developers, that we will see many projects, and I hope that all of them will succeed, inshallah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully the next time we will meet in person in Riyadh.